If you're looking for the ultimate tailgate or easy weeknight dinner, these crock pot barbecue ribs are just what you're looking for. Super simple and fall off the bone, melt in your mouth, delicious. Hey everybody, I'm Kelly with the Suburban Soapbox, and today we are making crock pot barbecue baby back ribs. These ribs are so simple to make. You can enjoy slow roasted rib flavor any night of the week. All you need are a rack of ribs. We actually use 2 racks because we really love our ribs here, and it's kind of nice to have the leftovers throughout the week. You're also going to need a little bit of apple juice or apple cider vinegar, barbecue sauce, BBQ Rub, liquid smoke, and chicken stock. So to start our ribs, you're going to flip them over, and this white silver skin needs to be removed because then the rub can penetrate all of the meat and the flavor gets all the way through, and then you actually have the meat is like melting and falling off of the bone. Otherwise, you have this piece here that just kind of shrinks up and keeps everything tightly together, so you're not gonna get that fall off the bone rib that you're looking for. So to get the silver skin off, sometimes it comes off very easily, other times it does not. I usually use my nails to get under here, but if you can't get your finger underneath the silver skin, you can use a paring knife. There we go. And then you get rid of that. Once you have the silver skin removed, you can trim off any excess fat, but I like to leave it because it kind of melts into the sauce and just adds to the flavor. We're going to cut the rack in half, just in between 2 of the bones, right down the center. And then you're going to add the barbecue rub. You can add the barbecue rub up to 24 hours in advance. Just transfer them to the crock pot or leave them on a baking sheet and cover them, and then put them in the refrigerator until you're ready to cook your ribs. So we're just gonna use some of the rub, and you're gonna sprinkle it on both sides. And then just press it in. Try to coat the entire surface of the meat, and then flip it over and get the underside as well. This will make sure that you have flavor all the way through. All right, and we're gonna do this second rack, and then we'll transfer everything to the slow cooker. You can use your favorite store-bought rub, or you can make a homemade version. I have a recipe for a homemade rub on my website. You can check that out if you want to give homemade a try. It's always so much better. All right, now I'm gonna wash my hands, and then we'll transfer everything to the slow cooker. Okay, now that we have our ribs coated in the seasoning, we're going to transfer it to the slow cooker. And to do that, we're just gonna take some tongs and lift them up. And then I like to put them so that the bones are vertical. I had to think about that for a second. And you're gonna line them up kind of like they're in a rack. And if your slow cooker runs a little hot, I like to put the bones on the outside, facing them outside, so that the meat isn't up against the heating element inside the slow cooker. So what we'll do is we'll flip this one this way, so that the ribs, the bones are up against the outside. So to make the braising liquid, we're going to start with apple juice. So I have about a 1/4 cup of apple juice here. You can also use apple cider. And then you're gonna top that off with about a cup of chicken stock. You can also use beef stock if you have that on hand. That actually has a richer flavor. Sometimes I'll use it interchangeably. And then some apple cider vinegar. You want about 2 or 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. And then I also like to use liquid smoke. This gives it that smoky flavor that is kind of traditional in ribs, but without putting it over a flame. So a little bit of liquid smoke, and then you're just gonna whisk all of that together. Once that's combined, you're going to pour this over top of your ribs, cover it, and then cook it on high for about 4 hours or low for 6 to 8 hours. So our ribs are almost done. We're just going to take the lid off. They smell so good. They're already pulling away from the bone, and this is where you're gonna brush the barbecue sauce on. So I just like to lightly brush the barbecue sauce over the ribs, and then we cook them again for about 30 minutes, just so that sauce can get like sticky and sweet and kind of stick to the ribs a little bit. And you can move them around. You can even flip your ribs over. Another alternative is if you want them to be like charred a little bit, you can actually take them out of the slow cooker at this point and throw them on the grill, or pop them on a baking pan and broil them. You'll get that nice caramelization from all the sugars in the barbecue sauce, just kind of like caramelizing on top. All right, so we're just gonna put the lid back on and cook them for about 30 more minutes, and then we can eat. So now our ribs have cooked for a little bit longer with that sauce on them, and they just smell so good. Just gonna lift one out. I like to brush them one more time, but you can see how they're pulling away from the bone a little bit. Just brush a little bit on that edge that was in the braising liquid. So now you can plate them on a platter. Some people like to have them just as like a big rack, but if you're serving a party or having like guests, I like to cut them into individual ribs and then serve them that way. So everybody can just take like 1 or 2 or 8 or half a rack. It doesn't really matter. So I'm just gonna cut them. Cut one and try it myself. So, and I'll show you how tender they are. You can kind of see it where they just like, they're coming right off the bone. Ooh, it's hot. I'm gonna just give it a little taste, make sure it's not terrible. It's not. It's so amazing, so tender and juicy and perfect and literally melts in your mouth. If you like this recipe, please be sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. For more easy recipes, visit thesuburbansoapbox.com. Thanks again.